Hi everyone, just a short video today. I just wanted to share with you a card I made recently. It's one of those spinner or slider cards as they're called. They're sometimes called penny slider or penny spinners cards. So I'm sure you've heard about those cards before. If you haven't, then there will be a bit of a surprise here for you, I hope. But yeah, I didn't really make a tutorial when I was making this card since it was quite dark last night when I was making it. So, and I've decided there was really a lot of tutorials out there, so I'm sure you'll be able to find it. However, if you'd like me to make one, then give me a shout, because I had so much fun making this card that I would be glad to make another one. So, why is it called a slider or a spinner card? Well, this is why. Because we have our little card that is spinning and sliding around the card. I think it's a pretty cool effect, and it's really nice and neat, and it's a nice surprise, especially if you want to kind of, you know, give someone a card with a bit of motion behind it. So this card was actually made as a thank you card for someone who recently gave me a lift or two in their lovely little red Mini Cooper. So yeah, I was in need of a lift to a few places, and someone very special offered it to me, and I thought I would just make them a little thank you card just to make them smile. So this was my very first attempt at the card, and I think it's quite a good result. It works, so it's not the worst, I guess. I have another card here. Well, it's actually not a card yet, it's just a topper, and I'm not even sure if it's going to stay that way or if I'm going to actually redo it a little bit. However, I just wanted to show you because it's slightly different, as in the way of the motion is a little bit different here of that little slider. I'm just trying to put it just gently on the side so that you can see how nice and how many times it actually turns and slides. But if you let it go fast, then it just goes like that, mad. Okie dokie. So what's the difference between the two of them? Well, when you look at them, obviously you'll see that well, the gap here is different. So the size of that gap, if I look like this, I've measured them, and this one is roughly 1/2 inch, and this one is a little bit more than 1/4 inch. It's around 8 millimeters. And obviously the coins I used for them, because you use coins for the slider bit, so the coins I used for them as well are different. So this one is a 5-cent one, and this one is a 1-cent card. Personally, I think I prefer the 1-cent effect much better, because it slides nicer and it kind of turns a lot of times. That bell here, by the way, is my cat walking around, so sorry for this. Well, this one, as you saw, it only gives like maybe 2 twists or 2 turns, and it goes much faster. Obviously the difference is that, well, this one is much heavier. The coins themselves are much heavier, so it just goes much faster. I said I liked this one more. I guess it as well depends on what you have to be turning and twisting and sliding. I mean, for the car, you probably don't want it to really be turning too many times, because it's not like it's having an accident. You just want to kind of show the motion. So even if it just slid without turning, it would be fine for me. For this windmill here, I wanted to give it a little bit more motion and show that it's actually going, you know, not only sliding but as well turning. So I was curious to see if I added or used the smaller coin, would that give me this effect, and it did. So I would say, basically, depending on what you want to do and, you know, how you want the elements to be turning and sliding, you can choose the coin based on that. The reason for this one, I started with the 5-cent coin. Well, I read somewhere on a few tutorials that you shouldn't really start with the gap smaller than 1/2 inch. So that's what I started with, and then I realized that the 1-cent and the 2-cent coins were actually too small for it, and they would just fall through, so I had to use the 5-cent coin on this one. So when I was making this one, I decided to just start with a smaller gap, and I think I started with 1/4 inch, and then I had to slightly make it a little bit bigger, because my foam dot was basically too small for it, so it wouldn't have been sliding in it as nicely. So, I mean, I guess depending on whatever coin you're using, you just need to play around with it a little bit. Coin is one thing, because obviously the gap can't be larger than coin, but take into consideration as well the size of your foam dots that you're using, because obviously they will need to be sliding in between here as well. So it needs to be, the gap needs to be at least the size or slightly bigger than the foam dots that you're going to be using. So here my phone dot is not as huge, however, because the gap was so massive, I had to then use a bigger coin just to make up for it. And you know what, like, it works fine. Like I said, I'm happy. I would be even happy, like I said, if it was just sliding back and forth, because it's just supposed to show the motion of the car. So for this card, I think it works perfectly fine. And for that one, like I said as well, I wanted it to be spinning more, and it is spinning more. So even though I'm not sure yet if I'm going to really use this card as the topper for the card I wanted, I'm happy with just trying it out and, you know, figuring out how it works, and it works the way I wanted it to. So as mentioned at the very beginning, there is plenty of those spinner or slider cards tutorials out there, but if you'd like one, well, I will probably not be able to make you a video out of it, although I could try to make a kind of step-by-step video with a few videos just put together, since I still don't have a holder for my camera, so I still can't really use both of my hands. I only can use the left one. But I could try to do at least a photo tutorial if you wanted to, or if not, just Google spinner or penny slider card or one of those names, and I'm sure you're going to find them. They're really fun to make. They look quite complex when you see them. When my husband saw it, he was quite impressed with the card, but it's actually really easy to make. So make sure that you keep your coppers and keep your little coins, and that you don't use them all up or throw them all away. They're actually come in handy, and they can make a cool card for you. So give it a go if you haven't tried one yet, and they're really, really fun. I think they would be as well lovely to make for kids. I'm definitely going to try a few more of these because they're really a lot of fun to make. So they're easy, very cool, and I think they're real fun. So give it a go and let me know how it went. Have a good day. Bye-bye.